We're getting a
Is there anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
Hey! Hello, welcome everyone to another episode of On The Fringe. This time with Mr. Joe.
This time with not
Say hi,
Matt.
Joe.
Not
Not Matt, unfortunately.
Not Matt.
Mr. Matt is busy over there in the US. He has just landed yesterday and needs to take a little bit of a break because the jet lag, as you could imagine, is going to be killer.
Yeah. Oh, do you know which part of the US he's gone to? Or
I should know, but I've completely forgotten.
Yeah.
That there's my short-term memory. But there's my long-term memory capabilities showing up right there.
That's
Is it Florida? Oh, cool.
okay. I like to call it Florida because I'm down with the brothers and the homies.
Well, I do hope that he comes back with some good alligator meat because I love that.
Yeah, and Florida has a real is the skunk ape in Florida?
Yes, it is over there in Florida. And what we had planned was that he would go to the Skunk Ape Museum and we could do an episode on that.
Ooh,
but
nice.
We will see how that goes because his wife is there, so wife takes priority.
Oh, I didn't even know he was married.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Oh, there
now
you go.
We know. Now we know.
We learn something new every day.
Yes. So, what we're going to be talking about today is we are going to be talking about the Black-Eyed Kids. So, as usual, I've got my big mug of Kirin beer and a smaller can of Anchor for me to skull.
When you say
because
like,
what we do over here, what we do here is that every time I say like, I take a sip from this, and I drink this normally because this is too nice to skull, and this is awful. So
okay, so you skull the awful one.
Yes, I take a drink from the awful one instead of take a drink from the nice one.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm drinking a very manly drink. It's called chamomile tea with honey and like a dash of vanilla. It's really bad.
No. Just Irish up that tea. Just put a bit of whiskey in there.
Oh no, that's
Scotch.
whiskey. It's got the same color as whiskey. Look at that. Yeah, it's whiskey. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about this thing down here. That's not real. It's a new thing called whiskey tea bag.
Yes.
Oh man, so BEKs, Black-Eyed Kids. Ugh.
Ooh, all right. So very basic overview of Black-Eyed Kids. The urban legend first came up around the early 2000s, specifically 2001, from memory. It was first recounted by a man on on one of the pseudo Reddit boards, recounting his tale of his encounter with two Black-Eyed Kids when he was parked at a Walmart parking lot, and he saw their eyes and just immediately just took off because he felt like
Nope, out of there.
There was no me gusta on that. So ever since that first encounter, Black-Eyed Kids have kind of perforated into mainstream media, especially with some horror movie flicks and a lot of like urban legends, a lot of creepypastas and stuff like that, where kids plus horror equals very scary.
I think for kids, man, I just don't like anything. Like, I'm not scared of it, but I don't like anything involving like the fringe stuff and kids. Oh, little kids scare the shit out of me. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
Was it a skull for a like?
What? Is there a
skull for a like? Did you just do a skull for that thing that you do with Matt?
Yep. I did. I did.
Just putting it out there.
I did.
Just putting it there. So the
Yes,
story that
yes,
you
we're
talked
still
about,
doing it.
yeah. So I think there's a little bit of a lag, guys. So Bill and I might talk over one another, but we'll try to keep that down.
No, it's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
We
to a minimum.
on the fringe, we are usually quite tipsy, so we will talk over each other. No need to be super polite, swear, cuss, whatever. Just do whatever comes naturally around a bar.
I am a very kind and gentle person. I do not cuss or swear or take my top off. So I'm very boring that way.
Well, neither of us have taken our top off. So there you go. There's a line drawn over there.
Yeah. No, I remember the story about the black-eyed kids, right? Because I think it happened to a bloke by the name of Brian Bethel. And this guy, is this the guy that you were talking about? He's the first so-called guy that reported an encounter with the BEK, right?
Yes. So I believe he is now quite well renowned for compiling stories of the BEKs.
Yep.
And he does interviews with other people that have experienced encounters with BEKs, which is pretty freaky that there's so many of them that he found out, and they're all very consistent. And this is a very interesting case because it borders a lot on the supernatural, but not it could also be considered a cryptid.
Yeah.
Because it might be a myth. There's some theories going on around that it might be an alien human hybrid.
Okay.
We don't particularly know.
Yeah.
So
just very quickly before you continue, Bill. Smooth operator in the background, I can hear horrible echo. Yeah, I can hear everything I say clearly after I speak. Oh, okay. I think it stopped.
Awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
As you
Sorry.
say. Wow. Okay. So looking at the chat in YouTube, everyone has a pretty much a general consensus that kids are generally scary. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, especially young kids. Young kids, no good. The screaming, the loudness.
Just look at that photo out there. Like, I don't know which is scarier, the little girl or the guy with the fucked up face. The little kid. I just, why?
Yes. So I took that. I specifically took that photo from the internet. Like, I didn't personally take that photo. No, I'm not, going around hunting for BEKs because that would be a death sentence, apparently. Oh, okay, look behind me. Yes.
Why? What's behind you?
No, never mind you. It's all right. It's all right. So, one of the very interesting things about the BEK is that whatever thing this is has chosen to take the form of children, which in most cultures is seen as a time of innocence, a time of peaceful tranquility, time of discovery, growth, and basically a very pure time in our lives where we are wanting to protect and we're wanting to nurture them. So whatever entity or whatever thing this is has chosen to take the form of the weakest among us.
Ooh, you said entity. Can I extrapolate from there that you believe that this is more supernatural than it is alien MIB type of thing?
It is so weird.
Oh, okay.
It is so weird. Yeah, it borders so closely on the supernatural, and it borders so closely. It borders on the supernatural, and it borders on the alien cryptids kind of thing.
Yeah, because I know that MIBs have been, for those who don't know, MIB is Men in Black. Well, people should know if you've watched Will Smith's movies. But Men in Black have been cited in conjunction with BEKs, specifically after people have experiences with BEKs, that Men in Black apparently show up and they question people just like they do with UFO encounters.
Yep. So I think it's one of those things where it is directly correlated, where BEKs. I don't know. It's hard to tell whether this is truly a supernatural occurrence, or it could be because with advanced enough technology, we as humans probably couldn't discern if it was magic or not, if it was something supernatural.
Yeah.
So think of it from the perspective of like a medieval person. There's a like there. If you were to go back in time and took your iPhone, you'd be immediately like branded like a warlock or a witch.
Or their god.
Or their god. One of the three. Either you'd be burned at the stake,
right.
or you'd be an apostle. There you go.
One of those things.
Yep. Which I think reflects a lot of how we would encounter advanced alien technology nowadays. We as humans don't change that much, even though like we are more educated, we have more tools, but either way our reactions to different things are always innately the same. It's that reptilian part of our brain where it goes like meh, meh, meh.
It's funny, I was watching Star Trek last night, and there was an episode about a changeling, and I know that a lot of people have drawn parallels between BEKs, changelings, and the Fae, basically the fairy world, right? That sounds like
yes.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I followed the BEK phenomenon since it came out in when Brian Bethel first talked about it, and then it kind of exploded from there. Like I've listened to him speak. He seems like a real genuine guy. Like I don't get any like vibes that he's bullshitting or lying to the people that he's talking about. But at the same time, the whole BEK phenomenon has every hallmarks of like an urban legend. There's a real sense that it's not true, but it is. It's a strange phenomenon. Like I want it to be true because it's creepy as fuck, but at the same time, that whole thing of like, can you let me in? I want to come. It just, again, like you cannot.
So that's
right?
the weird thing about it.
Yeah.
So that's the weird thing about it, because it does translate over to a little bit about a vampire folklore.
Exactly.
Where quite a few vampires in certain cultures need permission from the homeowner to come in.
Yeah.
The sweet thing about those vampires is that you can make sweet deals with them.
Yeah, but you can't do it with kids, right? Like you get arrested.
No, they're just bad.
Yeah,
That's the entire reason why they shape themselves as kids.
Yeah,
is
you
to
either
garner
die
sympathy,
or you get arrested. There's only two things.
Yep.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Or would I? Okay, scenario, right? Would you let kids into your house at night if they're knocking on the front door? You haven't seen their eyes yet. Would you let them in?
Yep. Thing is, in Singapore, I would probably do so. Especially if they were like, I'm lost, I'm scared, I don't know where my parents are. I probably invite them inside just to let them have a seat so I can call their parents.
I'm with Matt on this one, man. Matt on Facebook says that drop kick them. Yeah, I would drop kick kids. I don't care. You got your little ponytails and you're dressed like a little girl selling cookies. I'm gonna kick you in the teeth. You do not knock on my front door in the middle of the night. You're just asking for trouble right there and then. It's a funny thing, right? The whole idea of the black eyes brings to mind predators. Now, I'm well known in the supernatural community field as the apex predator. I mean, it's not a title I put on myself.
What?
It's the title that the SC fans call me. They call me Apex Predator. And from one apex predator to another apex predator, the black eyes reminds me of the eyes of like a shark. I don't know why you're laughing at this, Bill, because this shit's not funny, all right? Like this, an apex predator knows another predator. that's how things work. Bill, you just have
All
to
right.
you just have to accept that.
Let's go. Let's roll with that a little bit.
Okay, but the whole idea of black eyes brings to mind like a predator, like like a shark's, like the eyes of a shark, the eyes of something that stalks you. So the very thing of the black-eyed kids is that it's innocence, together with like a sense of danger.
Yep. Yep.
Do you know what I
Exactly.
mean?
I mean,
They look like kids, but they got black eyes. Why?
Yep. Interesting enough, it wasn't that too long ago where, okay, touching on a bit of like racism over here, where not too long ago, with the whole racial Darwinism in the earlier 20th century,
Yeah.
where people thought that, especially a lot of scientists, very reputable scientists, thought, hey, if you had less pupils or less whites in your pupils, that would indicate a level of untrustworthiness.
Okay. Yep.
And if you had darker eyes or like black eyes, it'd be a sign of malice. So they would see you as, of course, this is like very, very, very racially charged science back in the early 1930s and stuff like that.
If you've got blue eyes, you're right.
Something...
If you have brown eyes, something's wrong with you, mate. Yeah.
It's like, you got a bit of devil in you, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But the fact that it has been around for so long in human consciousness that it translated over into early modern science is kind of freaky. It just says something about our own human instinct, where when we see something like a predator with those big black eyes that are staring right at us, we instinctively know that there is something wrong there. We're not meant to be there. Whatever we're seeing, we're not meant to see it.
Yeah. Have you heard of the uncanny valley theory? That kind of real, that unsettling feeling when you look at something that's just not quite right, that has all the characteristics of a humanoid shape or a human, but there's just something wrong with them. In this case, the eyes, right?
Yeah.
Then again,
well, here's the other interesting thing about the black-eyed kids. They speak.
Yeah.
They talk.
Yeah.
They speak, and they're always described as sounding human, but they don't react like kids. So if you notice,
mechanical and monotonous.
Yes. Very mechanical, very monotonous. I mean, we've all seen kids talk, especially from the ages of 9 to 11. They're stuttering. They're either strange pitches here and there, maybe disjointed sentences, that kind of thing. No, none of that.
Yeah, unless they're teenagers, because teenagers speak like in like monotone, like they're just weird. Like you ask teenagers, "How you doing?" Good. What you have for lunch today? Food. Where do you want to go today? I don't know.
Yep. We've all been through that. What is Chunibyo stage?
Funnily enough, right? Like you talk about kids with black eyes. I remember when I used to be a parole officer. So I supervised people who were coming out of prison into the community on parole. One of the first clients I had was it was a guy, but he used to come in with his partner quite a bit. Well, what's happening?
Hold on, pause a bit, Frankie. Yes, I have seen a picture of a Chinese BEK kid. I did not put it in this video because it was pretty. It was very, very, very. I think it's actually of a real person. I genuinely think it's of a real person, but they've
very
just
racist.
like of an actual movie star. I was concerned that we were going to get like striked or something on that.
Oh, really?
I think it was. I saw it and then I looked at it and went, wait, I think I know this child actor from some movie, and it's like, wait, shouldn't use that picture.
Yeah, it actually, you know, what you just, whoever, like, your comment to Frankie, like you're seeing a picture of a Chinese kid at BK, and then you're saying that you've seen that this person might actually be a real person, right? Like, when I was supervising this guy, the first time that he came in, he was a goth, by the way. So, you know, this thing, trench coat, like really bad makeup, everything's black. I got a freaking shock because his eyes completely black. Now, this is a human being. However, the black came from excessive drug use. And he and his partner used to come in, and there was some of the whites in their eyes, but it was just fully like dilated kind of pupils. They were just black, right? And so some of the people that debunk the entire theory of the BEK as being supernatural aliens will say that these are a bunch of kids who are high on something. What's your take on that?
Okay. Speaking from a person that in the past has taken a few substances, back when I was in Australia, in my younger partying days, I can safely say the amount of drugs you'd have to take to get those pupils that dilated would OD a kid. 100%. That kid would be OD.
Yep.
They would not be walking around like that. They would not be speaking in that manner. They would not even be coherent. They'd probably be having a seizure.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you. And very quickly, L, he says this is a pseudo-racist question here, but it's something I actually thought about, L. So L goes, would you be able to tell a Chinese BEK with eyes that are kind of really kind of like, you know, slit eyes, what he called, right? So that's actually a really good point. Like, you know, if you squint or if you have, you know, kind of eyes that are kind of slightly smaller, I think any dilation of the pupil can actually make it look like your eyes are completely black. And I think that's I don't think that's a racist question. I think it's a legitimate
I think it's a valid
observation.
question. I don't think that's that's a racist question at all.
Yeah.
So, in terms of what could possibly make a human being dilate their eyes like that, that's where the question is leading to. Because, hey, I think we can all agree that most of us have, you know, pretty slit eyes, let's say.
Yeah.
And I can see the whites of my eyes, I can see the whites of your eyes, I can see the whites of most people's eyes that I see on the street. Very simple fact that, yes. In order for our eyes as a human being to dilate to that extent, either we are extremely hopped up on adrenaline or, again, on drugs. That is not a natural state that your eyes should be doing that. It actually damages them.
Yeah. No, totally. I do agree with you, especially at the point of kids, right? And most of the times, even though the kids are behaving in a very odd way, I'm talking about the BEK, right? They're not behaving in a way that suggests that they're drug affected. You know, there's a difference between drug affected and being creepy as shit. It's different. They can be similar, but it's different.
Yeah, it's not even just the eyes, it's the behavior. It's the rehearsed behavior, the mechanical voice, the scripted event. And the responses were like, no kid would be that well behaved. No kid at that age in that situation would be that calm.
Yeah. And then there's that whole question of what are they doing there in the middle of the night? Because most of the times, I remember most of the times they're actually there at night.
Yes.
Not really during the daytime.
Yeah.
Even though some of the stories that do predate Brian Bethel's account, that they do talk about the BEKs happening or appearing in the daytime as well. Because, you know, Brian Bethel is not the first person who have talked about BEKs. He's probably the person that brought it into like social consciousness, I suppose.
Yes. Yep. Well, his story was the one that got picked up. That basically the media picked it up and just went like, hey, this is really interesting, and other people came forward with it. The other thing I'd like to say is that they usually turn up in very remote areas. So like suburban areas, out of town areas, where it's very heavily wooded. Maybe there's not many people around. There's low density of people. That's the creepy thing. That's the weird thing. Why would kids be out in the middle of the woods or out in the middle of the woodlands area? Or like, let's put it in the context of Singapore. For you to meet a BEK in Singapore, it would be something like meeting two kids randomly at an empty construction yard. Why are they there?
That's terrifying. That is terrifying, Bill.
Yep.
Why would they be there? Yeah, there's absolutely no reason, right? Because everything is incongruous. Like, kids shouldn't be alone at night and in construction yards unless they're, I don't know, homeless.
No way, no how. Because I don't want to make generalizations here on homeless kids or people or kids in foster care or in the adoption system, right? But most of the time, kids in that kind of system, in that kind of environment, they're not well behaved at all. They're not as still as other kids.
They won't stand at the doorway. They come right in.
They would not stand at the doorway. They would not.
Yeah.
They would not politely ask for you to let them in.
Can I get a glass of water? Can I get a glass of water, please? No, they're not. They're gonna jump right in and steal your shit.
So, interesting thing, right? One of the research topics that I wanted to talk about was a story about a couple that actually let two BEKs into their home.
Yep.
Yeah. So what actually happens when you let BEKs in? So, first things first, they asked to be let in. This lovely couple thought, hey, lost kids. All right, let's bring them inside our home. Let them take a seat, and we'll call the police. Get some information out of them. Immediately, their cat is going nuts. Usually this cat is really friendly with people, really, really affectionate, but on this occasion, doesn't like the kids at all. First suspicious thing. Second suspicious thing, they asked to go to the bathroom. The kids asked to go to the bathroom. Really, but they want to go together.
Yeah.
Which is a bit odd. And the entire time, they kept their heads down to the floor. They don't show their faces. They don't really show their eyes to them. When the mother in this family says no, that's when that's like, well, basically it says like, no, you can't go in two at a time because that's weird.
Yeah.
To the bathroom,
it's even weirder.
Weird.
If she follows or the husband follows. I'm just saying, it's even more weird.
Yeah, and you get arrested. Yeah, you get arrested for that.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do that.
That's when
guys.
when she noticed that they both have black eyes, and they stared at the husband. They stared at the mother, stared at the cat, and just left. Just left.
They just left the house? Not
Just left
disappeared.
the house. Disappeared. Without another word, just left the house. So, what happened? A few days later, they found the cat.
Oh.
Dead in a puddle of its own blood.
No.
A few days later, husband started bleeding from the nose.
I don't know
consistently.
why. I thought you were going to say the husband started bleeding from the ass. Don't ask me why. For some reason, that is what I thought you were going to say. I don't know why my head's in the
That
space right
could
now.
be a possibility. That could be a
Yeah.
possibility. The story did not recount that.
It's like,
But
the cat was found in a puddle of its own blood, and a few days later, the husband bled from his ass.
well, all right. So long story short, the husband, because of his consistent like nosebleeds,
Yeah.
went to the doctor. They got it checked out, and apparently there was he has cancer.
Oh.
He was diagnosed with cancer, and it was a particular type of skin cancer where you would only get it from overuse of indoor tanning beds.
Radiation, basically.
Yeah.
UV burns, radiation burns.
Yep.
Aliens.
Well,
It's aliens.
a couple days later, the wife also gets the same thing as well. Started bleeding from the
Husband and
nose.
wife.
Yes. So that is one recount of a very unfortunate family that led to the case into their homes and literally got cancer.
Literally got cancer from the, because again, there's parallels between this and UFO abductees and UFO survivors who actually later on go and get tested, and they find that they have radiation burns on their bodies, right? And then they have no idea why they've just got this radiation burn. In fact, I think and I know that we were initially going to talk about skinwalkers today, or Skinwalker Ranch, but we know that you guys are saving that for when you yourself and Matt can really like attend to this topic, because I think it's what the Essie family want. But
Yes.
in the Skinwalker Ranch, there's been a case where one of the main characters of that show actually had like a radiation burn on his hand, and there's no logical reason why that radiation burn. Like, you can't be chilling out in your lounge room and suddenly you get a sunburn. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Unless your lounge room is somehow irradiated with something.
Which begs the question, what is irradiating? What did irradiate them? Was it the kids? Was it something hovering on top? What, like...
So that's the weird thing, right? I kind of think that it was the kids. It was their eyes. It was their gaze. So if we're going, what I believe is the alien-human hybrid, but also in the whole tech route, where the BEKs are extraterrestrial in nature. They are wearing some sort of disguise, some sort of human-like disguise to fit in and to observe humans. That's why they're so mechanical. That's why they're so weird. They don't really act like people. They're like, if think of it like this: whenever a biologist or behavioral scientist watches a group of, let's say, primates and tries to interact with them, I'm pretty sure this is the same kind of like feeling that the other primates get when like the human tries to interact with them in like ape like body language. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I reckon that's what cats like think of us as well. When we go to cat, we go, yeah, pss, 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 yeah, pss, pss, pss. Like the cat's going, the fuck are you doing? What the hell is pss, 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 pss? Like this something's really strange with this human being.
Jeez.
So you're saying something that's what's happening with this BEKs?
Yep.
Mm.
Exactly. And the radiation is exactly from their observations. I don't believe that they actually do have black eyes. I just think it's a lens
Through which the void gazes back.
Well, whatever alien beings are actually in that disguise.
Are you talking about like a cloaking device? Or are you talking about that alien from Men in Black, where they're actually like little aliens sitting in a body, and it's like driving the human being?
I don't even
Because
think the alien sitting in the body. I think it could be some sort of like disguise exosuit or something like that. And it just so happens that the eyes are the lens, and it gives off quite a lot of background radiation. Maybe not lethal to them, but pretty lethal to us.
Yeah, quite bad for us. Again, let's go on the fringe in this, right? Let's just say there's a device that allows
Fuck you, Clark says no fursuits.
What is Clark saying? Oh, why are furries coming in here? People and furries. I don't know.
It's my curse. I mentioned furries on the first On The Fringe, and it's just been a constant reminder ever since.
Oh, see, that's
as an explanation to everything. To everything now.
Everything is now like an archive. People can go back and search for shit that you say. Furries, I like that. But let's just go on the premise that there's an alien somewhere in the vicinity of the body of the black-eyed kids, right? And what's happening is that they've got a device that cloaks them, just like a Romulan bird of prey is being able to be cloaked, right? And maybe this device, as you said before, is the one that's giving out the radiation, and they just again, it's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
But then how can other people who have experienced BEKs don't get burnt themselves?
So that's the weird thing, right? That's the weird thing. It could be that I don't know, from like an engineer's point of view, my experience is that sometimes, even with very, very expensive high-tech equipment, we get pretty lazy with the settings. We get pretty dang lazy with the settings. So 1 or 2 notches on the settings, nobody's going to notice, and it's going to work fine. It'll be all right. Just send it out there. It's fine. So it's like So my theory is that some people are heavily affected by the radiation, and some people are not, simply because whatever degree of radiation these aliens have is obviously much more resistant to us. So for them, this is an acceptable safety standard for just background radiation observation, and they don't realize they're actually killing us.
You got the supervisor going, "God damn it, Ben! I told you to turn it up to 2, not 5. You know, Ben, you're fired, Ben. Ben, get the fuck out and don't come back. You just killed George and his wife. Go, no, Ben, go."
Yeah. So that is the whole. The conspiracy is another theory would be, building on your cloaking device theory, is that it's not actually the cloaking device. It's actually some sort of visual scan they're trying to do. Because a lot of the stories really dictates the length of time that the BEKs are actually looking at them. So in the story that I just recounted, they were very much looking at the cat. They took a good long look at the cat, and they took a longer look at the husband. And the wife had the least exposure from their gaze.
Right.
So
that's even creepier.
So it could be that they're using some sort of device to scan or in a sci-fi term, analyze us. But it just produces a lot of radiation, and the longer they stare at you, the more it radiates you.
I don't know what's creepier, man. Having 2 kids come into your home, or the kids are going like this, like the kids just scanning you like this, like that. People get arrested for that. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, people get arrested.
I
for that
know,
kind
I
of
know, I
shit.
know. I
You-
think that's why that they have black eyes, so that you can't see where the pupils are actually looking at you.
Can you just be a normal person and get like sunglasses? You know how you know how guys we do this, right? We put on
Yeah.
dark sunglasses and we go walking and we can look at the good-looking girl without them knowing that you look. You know what I'm talking about, right? You put the sunglasses and you're walking straight with your eyes like this, right? Just wear
Yep, 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 yep,
sunglasses.
yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've done that too. I've done that too. But I think it's a very interesting theory because it explains quite a bit about how kind of inept an alien species would be in understanding and knowing our customs and kind of like our do's and don'ts in terms of like a social society. So they must know that staring pretty taboo, pretty
Yeah,
rude overall. Leering at a person and like looking at them like a piece of meat, going like up and down, pretty bad.
my eyes are up
So
here, not down there, up here.
exactly. So one way to solve that is basically to have completely huge pupils and just have black eyes, so you can't tell where you're staring at.
Pair of sunglasses would suffice, Bill. You don't need black eyes to be able to do that. My God,
But
take
here's
it
the
from an
thing,
expert
right?
here.
But here's the thing, right? Can we extrapolate from human interactions with our own natural environment in terms of trying to replicate their behaviors that we don't make the same very obvious, very weird mistakes onto them?
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is that whether the reverse is actually true, like when they say, can you let us in for a cup of water? And we go, fuck no. Like they're going like, oh, how rude. Like how rude. Like in our alien world, if someone asks for a cup of water, we give them a cup of water.
Well, not just that, but also in terms of like the sunglasses thing, they might see it as, oh, sunglasses are things for adults. Kids do not wear sunglasses.
Oh,
So
okay.
we just
Okay.
give the kids really big black eyes
Yeah,
so
which
that
is
they
a lot
don't
better,
appear
obviously.
rude. So they don't appear rude when we scan them and look at them up and down.
That's right. Like, no, do not give those kids
It's that kind of
sunglasses.
fresh off the boat mentality where it's like
Yeah.
really dang weird. Your reasoning is correct, but your conclusion is completely wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Do not give them sunglasses because that's going to be really weird in kids. You know what I think, Ben? Let's give them the eyes of a soulless killer from the void, and they can use that to just meld into society and scan people. Ben,
Yeah,
make it happen.
it's like make it
Far
happen,
out.
Engineer Ben. Do
Yeah,
it.
make it happen, Ben. And Ben's going, okay, no sunglasses. We get into the eyes of a soulless killer from the void, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Great
we'll give
idea,
them Darth
supervisor.
Vader eyes.
Yeah, we'll do that. But again, I like the idea of like culturally, like if aliens have culture, right? Like I know that you're a 40K fan, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you know how the elder, right? The elder are meant to have like a culture where even their movements convey meaning, they convey communication, right? And as human beings, when we interact with the elder, the human being, we cannot replicate that because we don't have the capacity of movement that these aliens have. And that could be the
Yes.
same with these BEKs, right? Maybe they're micro movement. Maybe there are things that they're doing that they think that they're interacting well with us, but they're not. They're just being straight up creepy.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, big indicator is the mechanical voices, the very rehearsed responses.
Yeah.
We do it all the
Yeah.
time with like translators. We do that all the time on planet Earth, like with other humans with translators. How many times have you gone to Google Translate and tried to talk with an international friend or something in a different
Yeah.
language, and they're like, It's technically correct, but you would never say it in that way.
I don't know, Bill. I speak the language of love, and that's a universal language. No, I don't.
You be careful with that language, my friend. You get
Exactly.
in a lot of trouble in certain parts of the world for that.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to approach women at night anymore. So that's gone out the window. Okay, we have Alex Chu here that goes, now it sounds more like an advanced AI robot, which is basically part of the theory that it's actually, aside from the crazy theories that Bill and myself have been posing, but there's a very strong theory out there that these things are actually mechanical. They're not they're not biological in any stretch of the word.
Yep. It's also one of the prevailing things that there are drones or robots in a way, similar how we humans send probes onto Mars or like Jupiter or whatever. Aliens simply go, hey, send in a probe. It's fine.
Yeah. When you say probe, my mind goes to so many different places. Anyway, Orange Freak says, speaking of sunglasses, it is said that ETMIBs wear those to hide their non-human eyes. Interesting point. Perhaps that kind of like figures in with Bill's theory that like the adult aliens are like, okay, when the adult alien black eyes is too weird for these human beings to accept, but we have a belief that the kid aliens, their black eyes, completely fine. I don't think the humans can tell the difference. You know how that kind of like theory, right? Like where if you, I can't remember what the official name for it, I should know, where if you go to, like, say you come from a very homogenous culture, like just say you come from China, right? Suddenly you go to, I don't know, the United States. Every white guy is going to look the same, right? You aren't able, because we're not habituated to that particular culture and the way that culture looks like. We can't tell the micro differences. I remember when I first came to Perth when I was a teenager slash kid, right? It took me a long time to differentiate between different white people. I'm not shitting you. It's like one white person looked like another white person, right? It's only after a period of time when you get habituated and you get a culture in that particular kind of society that you slowly gain the ability to tell people apart, right? Now it's become like a racist trope. Oh, you mean we all look alike? Well, if I've come from China, I've never seen white people before. Fuck yeah, you all look alike. So, aliens, if you have an extraterrestrial race that comes down here, right, they may think in that same way. Oh, you know what? Human beings, they can't deal with an adult with big black eyes. But you know what? As a child with black eyes, yeah, we'll be fine. Just do it, Ben. Don't worry about it, Ben.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the picture's just gone up where I wanted to link it back to the Greys because another big playing theory is that they are actually a manifestation of human trauma and experiences with alien abductions in terms of Greys.
Yeah.
So we extrapolate and we try and make memories that make sense to us because Greys are always seen as shorter, skinnier, around the same height as kids. But if we're extremely heavily traumatized, we may choose to create certain memories that makes us be able to make sense of it. Which is one common reaction that people of very, very stressful situations of trauma will tend to want to
do. You're going down the whole trauma getting probed kind of route.
Yeah, exactly. Because I always think that, hey, whenever we catch and tag animals, I'm pretty sure that's pretty traumatic for them. What happens when we get abducted and we're going to get like tagged and probed? Pretty sure some mental scars are there.
Definitely. So what you're saying is that it could possibly be that the people who are encountering BEKs, right, they have had a history of being abducted, and that what they're actually seeing is like almost a subconscious projection of their trauma.
kind of like a mental wall, like a memory that that almost like supersedes on top of their actual traumatic memory, so their brains can make sense of the event that has just happened.
It's like that Suicide Squad, the latest movie, right? That polka dot guy who sees his mom like transposed on all the bad people, and then he can kill them.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah. I actually have a different theory about Greys, and especially Greys with big eyes, right? Someone once did like, and I don't know whether I'm having a false memory of this being an actual thing, but someone or a scientist or a group of people, like, they came together and they tried to predict what human beings would look like in the far future, and they came up with an image that was quite similar to that of a Grey.
Yeah.
They had like this really grayish, like not the skin color that we have right now, because they say, okay, pollution and everything, you don't have the same amount of sunlight, so human beings grow very pale. But as time goes by, our craniums are, I think, getting larger. So we enlarge, our eyes become bigger and more black to accommodate the darker environments. And the image they proposed looked very shockingly similar to that of Greys, which, begs the question: are Greys aliens from this time, or are Greys actually like things that have come from the far future and are visiting us?
That is definitely something that we could explore on another episode where we're going to cover aliens specifically.
Ooh. And you're an alien believer, I can tell, but Matt, not so much.
I am definitely an alien believer.
Yeah.
It has been in mainstream. It is proven that there are aliens out there.
Proven.
Yes.
That's a big call. Proven.
Yes.
I think that the US have kind of released those recent images of the Tic Tac video UFOs and stuff, but I don't know about that being proven.
Right. It is a very common scientific consensus that with the amount of stars in the universe, with the amount of planets and livable, habitable planets in the universe, there is alien life out there.
Sure.
There definitely is.
But it might be microscopic.
They encounter us, they could be microscopic, or they might be fairly multicellular. They might be advanced. We do not know. Whether they've contacted us or made or visit us is another thing entirely. But belief in aliens, yes, they definitely do exist. Definitely.
Look, my personal belief is that
consensus.
I don't think we're alone. I'm fairly certain, in my own opinion and belief, that we're not alone. It
is the pinnacle of hubris to think that we humans are so special in the universe that we are the only ones.
Yeah, there's only one apex predator, though. I'm just going to put it out there, and I don't want you to get confused about that. Or the people around the SC family. Okay, so only one apex predator.
I might call all the SC families apex predators just to make you annoyed.
Yeah, that's just so mean. That's just so mean. Now, this is probably still moving more into the territory of Friday Night Live, where we look at the supernatural aspect of things. Have you heard, like, in your research for this topic, of paranormal or supernatural things happening in conjunction with BEK sightings, aside from the black eyes and the creepiness?
Okay, so Elus did mention that it might be demons deceiving us. Yes, okay. That is one of the things that in my research that has come up time in and time and again. Demons, possessions, and basically
Satan.
So, not Satan in particular, just demons overall. Yeah. So one of the key core beliefs in this system is that, hey, demons aren't inherently humans. They are not like ghosts. They form a different category in of themselves. Demons are inherently malicious. They do not care what happens to people. They just find just inherent seek pleasure and doing whatever they want to do with them. So the BEKs are a classic, a lot of ways, a classic example of possession, demonic possession, where yes, they're not going to be like the movies where they're climbing up the walls. They're going to be not going to do a 360 like on the head and stuff like that. They're not going to puke on you, but black eyes, mechanical movements, very strict, rehearsed, very polite.
Mm-hmm.
That they ask to be let in is actually a very old, very, very, very old, almost like Sumerian belief that demons need to be invited in.
Could you let me in for a cup of tea?
Yeah, exactly. So
and possess your soul.
So it dates back to the very, very old human, early human folklore that demons need permission to actually invade your soul, to possess you. They need your consent to do so, which is a very weird thing. But that's why they are so tricksy. That's why they're so alluring.
But also remember that when we talk about demons, especially, given that a lot of the BEK reports seem to happen in the United States, right? Like places like Texas and stuff like that. It's a very Judeo-Christian take on BEKs, right? This whole idea of demons, right? Because it's this idea that there's this hierarchy of beings, of fallen angels and all that. And, perhaps that's not the case. Perhaps they are of an order of spirits that is just very different from what we understand. Yeah.
So that's the weird thing, right? So demons means a lot of different things. So it could be Judeo-Christian. It could be fallen angels. But what most Western, Eastern, Middle Eastern cultures have a consensus on is that demons are not people. They're not human souls. They're 100%. Inherently completely different to us. They could be called jinn.
Yes.
They could be called fairies. They could be called changelings. Whatever you want. They do the same thing.
Or furries.
But if you look, furries, I'm sorry to say, are real.
How do you know?
Please look towards the Australian Furry Convention in 2021.
Of which Joe is the convener. No. Joe is not the convener for that at all. But so they talk about the BEKs being jinn.
Yes.
I have recalled stories about people encountering the jinn, especially in Middle Eastern countries like Afghanistan and Egypt and stuff like that. They're always, not always, but quite frequently, this whole idea of black eyes come up again.
Yep. And that's where the cross-cultural similarities come in. Where
it's a freaking fascinating subject. I think BEKs, like with BEKs represent what On The Fringe is all about. It's that it really is on the fringe. It's on the doorway, right? Between the real, between the science fiction, between the supernatural. It's there.
It is so touch and go.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. And the fact that there are so many different cultural similarities in quite a few of the accounts is really unsettling. And there is a cultural consensus that these things are bad. These things are not to be trusted. Don't let them into your home. Don't say yes to them.
I think that's final good advice for the show and for everyone out there, that if in the middle of the night or any time of the day, you see a bunch of kids at your gate, at your front door, and they're knocking and they're asking to be let in, and they've got black eyes. For heaven's sakes, do not let them in.
Do not let them in. Do not let them in. say no or just close the door on them.
I can imagine someone goes, nope, and the door goes shut straight away. And the poor kid's like, I just need to ask for a glass of water, like I'm really thirsty. It's like, no, see you later.
Nope, go down to the police station right there.
Yeah, that's right. Go bother John next door because he's an arsehole and I don't like him. He'll give you a cup of water. Screw
Yeah.
John.
Exactly. So we did start a little bit late.
Yes.
And we are going to spend some time at the end to just go through a bit of the messages, messages here on Facebook and also on YouTube.
Sonia Karana has asked about, if ever a chance, the Nephilim, please. And the Nephilim.
Oh, Nephilims.
Yeah,
oh,
Nephilims, yeah.
yes, Nephilims.
That'll be a good one to talk about, guys.
Yep. That is definitely in the books.
We're not talking about Diablo Nephilim. We're talking about the Nephilims that features in like the Bible. I think even Talmud and the Torah and the Quran, where they have talked about these hybrids, right? These human angelic kind of hybrids.
Yep. That is definitely something that we have planned on taking a look at. They are giants, but we will get to that. They're not exactly giants. Giants are different, but we will get to that during the episode.
Here's another one very quickly. Just as a bit of a bookmark. If you and Matt ever get a chance to do it, I'd love to hear more on the giants of Kandahar, the giants of Afghanistan.
Oh,
that is freaking fascinating.
That is extremely fascinating.
Yep.
That is a subject that I really want to do as a huge special. Because guess what? The hour goes by super, super quickly. And we feel like we could talk tons more about demons. We could talk about tons more about Judeo-Christian to Middle Eastern to even like Eastern mythology on black-eyed people and black-eyed beings relating to the black-eyed kids, for example. But we just don't have time in this segment.
I hear you.
Yeah, oh man. There's a huge wish list out there, and I'm sure Matt has many things they would like to talk about, and also you guys. Don't forget to vote on all those polls, because every single time we do them, oddly enough, aliens never at the top, always at the bottom.
Wow. Loch Ness Monster by the Clerk says, yeah, that's probably something that the guys have on the books.
Oh yeah, Loch Ness Monster is a classic. That is always on the books, but we're waiting for a good time where you guys are really itching to go for Loch Ness Monsters. And there are tons and tons of sea monsters. There are tons and tons of that. As a former marine robotics engineer, like I have heard many weird sea stories of things in the water and things seen on there.
You have to share.
Yeah, especially when I was doing stuff offshore and overseas. That is very weird and very freaky stuff. But that is something that we can talk about on the episodes over there. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Bill and Mr. Joe on The Fringe. And do you have a catchphrase that you'd like to add to On The Fringe, good sir?
Oh, I don't know. I usually have my catchphrase, actually, I think covers it all. That there are always more questions than there are answers. And I think even more so on The Fringe. I've not left this going, I know exactly what BEKs are. I don't know. More questions.
Yeah, there's always more questions than answers. So I think on that bombshell, the truth is always out there. So guys, thank you and have a great night.
Yeah, good night. Peace.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.